You're now listening to the Zod Drea podcast.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome to the Zod Drea podcast. Once again, we just love doing these things every
I
week.
know, they're so much fun.
Like, I swear, this is just my stress
I hope you guys
reliever.
enjoy just as much as we do.
You know, we really do. Because,
and if you don't, whatever.
We love talking about all kinds of different things, different topics. And in case you haven't noticed, we are already rolling into Season 3. Now, we're going to make an official announcement next week with the first episode of Season 3, which will be number 118. I know we said something else last week, but next week is going to be Season 3 intro and opener. So make sure you listen for it. So this week, what we're going to wind up doing is doing a recap. But we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Gonna take you guys down memory lane.
Yeah, so let's talk about this past week. This past week was interesting because we've been back in the gym pretty nicely. I'd say we're pretty nice.
Yeah.
You know, I just know that my body is in pain like all the time, and are we gonna go later on today?
Yeah, we are.
All right, yeah. So we're gonna go later on to the gym, regardless. See, that's the good thing about our gym is 24 hours.
24 hours,
so,
and yeah, I switched it up took on a different plan that for me was a little bit more structured, and I get to really use a lot of muscles I haven't used in a long time.
Yeah, talk about that. I mean, going swimming the other day, I really felt it. Oh, man, I really felt it, and now I'm still in pain. So what do you do about that pain when your body's feeling that ache? You go back to the gym and cause more pain.
And you cry it out.
You cry
in your
it
pillow
out. That's
late
it.
at night.
But you look like The Rock later, so it's all good.
So what are we talking about today?
Well, no big deal. This one's going to be an easy one because we are going to be rolling into Season 3, but on top of that, we are going to talk about politics because something happened today, or yesterday, I should say, that was interesting, and that's going to be Trump Clown's new pick, Brett Kavanaugh, for the Supreme Court.
This is huge. This is really huge, which will impact our country for a few decades because this guy's young and he ain't going to die soon.
Yeah, so it literally is a few decades. So it's going to be a generation that this guy can influence. And the Supreme Court, and people yelling MAGA, they're going to have an issue. Of course, the next issue that we're going to be discussing about is entertainment, and if you haven't seen it, make sure you check out Ant-Man and the Wasp. You will be able to see our interview online, but it is definitely a fun movie.
You mean your review online?
My review. What did I say?
You said interview. I was like,
I interviewed.
I was like, wow, Marvel flew you out.
Yes, they did, and I am the nicest on the junket.
But I can't wait to talk about it because it was a great movie.
A lot of fun. And of course, lastly, make sure you check out Zod Drea Season 3 next week, I should say, because we are going to be recapping Season 2. And you wouldn't believe all the stuff that we discussed in this last year.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked about it.
Yeah, we were actually really busy. So let's talk about it. Let's get into it. What do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Really? You don't want to end with... Okay. All right. So in case you haven't seen it, Ant-Man and the Wasp came out, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday or something like that of last week. And it's the anticipated movie to see after I believe it was like 2015 Ant-Man movie that came out. And his character has been in such movies since as Civil War, the Marvel's Captain America Civil War. And, people wondering what was going to be up with Ant-Man. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was better than the first.
I was really just so happy about it. I have to admit, the first Ant-Man, I really didn't have a lot of expectations about it. I was like,
it's Ant-Man. I was
like, Ant-Man.
It's a weird character.
And I ended up laughing so hard at the first Ant-Man and just had a great time. So I was really excited to see the second one and had just an equal amount of a good time. I think I laughed even harder in this one.
Maybe, maybe, you know what? Maybe.
Yeah, there was some scenes where I was belting over, laughing, slapping my leg. I think I slapped your leg. I think I cried a minute because it was so funny.
It had a lot of good humorous things, but also the enemy, quote-unquote enemy. See, what Marvel's doing is they're making a lot more complex villains. They're making sure it's like they're an enemy, but are they an enemy? Could you see yourself in that position? It's, well, I kind of understand, but they shouldn't do it that way. And, the enemy here was a character named Ghost. And, it's a hard topic to discuss as to what's going on because Ant-Man is almost in the middle of the last Avengers movie, which was Infinity War, and the last Ant-Man. So it's kind of like in between, but near the end of it because he's on house arrest after what he did in Civil War. So this is between Civil War and Avengers. And after going to Germany for what he did in Captain America Civil War, if you didn't see that, then he was busted and
he violated the Sokovia laws or something,
Sokovia
regulations.
Accords. So he violated that by doing that, by siding with Captain America, and now he was sitting in his house for 2 years, which sucks. And he hadn't had any contact with Pym or his daughter Hope. But of course, now Pym and Hope are on the run. They're on the run now, and they're trying to figure out something that they've been waiting for, and that's to get Hope's mother out of the quantum realm.
Which this movie, and I think we talked about it a little bit, but it was really science-y, if that makes any sense, right? Like, it was a heavy amount of science involved in this, and it was still fun and super cool. And by the way, the little girl that portrays his daughter in the movie,
she's so adorable.
So adorable.
She's so cute.
And funny.
Yeah, she
this
is.
Girl's got a great career ahead of her because she was great.
Yeah, her timing was good. They made sure that they got the right kid, and she kept up with Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly and the whole crew. Of course, you didn't talk about your boy Luis. That was your boy.
Look, I was gonna wait for like a little bit. I get the segue. Luis
right,
was the best. Oh my gosh! And why did I forget the actor's name all of a sudden?
Michael Pena.
Michael Pena. Love him. And what it seems to do is that the writers just know how to just enhance his natural skills of a comedian who he is. And it was just great. He again made me laugh extremely hard. I snorted a few times.
Yeah, so he did his thing, because
T.I. was good.
T.I. was good. Like, that's funny that was who was that Kristen's favorite character? Like, I'm like, that was the weirdest thing. Like
him,
because he's like such a dummy in it. And of course the Russian dude, the Russian dude was funny that one scene. We don't want to give away everything, but definitely the truth serum scene was the funniest part in the whole movie. The truth serum, without a doubt, was the funniest. But the action scenes. See, my thing is, I think that they should have probably even called this the Wasp and Ant-Man. I mean, like, seriously, the Wasp was kicking ass.
And she did a lot of her own stunts, too.
Yeah. You know who did? Ghost also.
That character, too.
That Ghost. She did, like, all her own stunts. And she said it was important for her to do so in some other press junket that she was doing. But Evangeline Lilly was doing her thing. And just the Wasp character in general just really came out. And, I mean, all the special effects, the large Pez and blowing up cars that went and got bigger and smaller. And it was funny. It was really funny. Because I like the little remote control cars that were supposed to be them.
All the Tonka toys.
All the Tonka toys. It was so awesome.
Hot Wheels.
So if you have a chance, make sure you see it. I think it's grossed already 161 million, I believe, worldwide. But check out Ant-Man and the Wasp because we recommend it. And make sure you check out the review that we did on Zod Drea. I think you'll be able to find it pretty fascinating.
And of course, like any other Marvel movie, you got to stay until the lights turn on.
Stay all the way to the end.
All the way.
All right. So we want to make sure we talk about this next one, which is Trump's pick, who is Brett Kavanaugh. Which, to me, I think Trump likes to troll people, and his whole thing is about his ego. He doesn't care about what it affects or who it affects.
What? He doesn't care about Americans?
He doesn't care about Americans. He wants to do everything winning. And when people say, yeah, Trump is winning, it's like, yeah, Trump is winning at times. But that's the point. Only Trump is winning, and you're completely losing, but you're cheering on a guy as if he's a football team. And so he picks this guy who's Brett Kavanaugh, who served under Ken Starr, the independent counsel who had investigated Bill Clinton for getting a blowjob, pretty much. But no, he had been very instrumental in, I think, impeaching Clinton, if I believe right. So we're talking about a dig at Hillary, which this guy is still tweeting about. So this guy has Hillary on the brain all the time. So of course he's going to wind up getting somebody who's going to go on the Supreme Court as a troll to Hillary. I mean, you can't convince me otherwise that this isn't what he's doing and what he's after. He trolls. It's the same way when he had Bill Clinton's accusers at the debate.
Right. If he's not trolling Hillary, then he's trolling Obama. Like it's either one or the other.
One or the other.
So why is everyone making a big hoopla about this, right? Why is everyone all up in arms? Well, because Kavanaugh we know that he's a conservative, right? And what is at stake is really Roe v. Wade, gay rights, and health care. And the way that Kavanaugh has been, I guess, in his legal writings and and what he's been teaching in the different schools that he teaches is really what his stance is a form of abortion, religious liberty, separation of powers, and the executive branch of authority, which, by the way, and I'll go to the other points in a minute, but this is a really important point, is the separation of powers and the executive branch of authority, is that he has written how much he feels that the president is, the office of the president is so busy that the president should not deal with any civil lawsuits. So pretty much like leave the president alone, let the president do his job. So of course, Trump and his administration really found that very attractive, that this is what he sides on executive power. And that is pretty scary.
It's pretty scary. And see, here's my thing. It's not just those three. It's also going to be voting rights. It's going to be affirmative
Healthcare.
action. There are certain things that's going to be happening. So here's why this is important to everybody. There are certain people who believe that the United States is 100% even across the board for everybody. And that's because they were either born at a time when they are absolutely were unaffected by anything, or they come from a family or a situation where they are unaffected. They live in a bubble and they don't see what goes on in the outside world. So to them, they're going to think that, hey, everything is even across the plane. Nobody is, if I can't get a job, then no one can get it, but they don't realize that race, sex, there are certain things that are factors in why somebody can't achieve and why others can. It's just a given. And as much as I like to see and debate with some of the Trumpsters online regarding Roe vs. Wade or abortion, for the ones who are pro-birth, no, they are not pro-life, they are pro-birth, because after the baby is born, they do not give a shit about them. But these people who are jumping down the throats of people who are pro-choice, just a woman's right to, then they say, no, bring it down to the states. There are going to be certain states with poorer communities, that are going to affect them harshly. And a lot of them seem to be in the Bible Belt and some of the more Republican societies and states and that are going to be affected the most, but they don't know it yet. That's what's so funny. They don't have the foresight to see that Roe vs. Wade being overturned is not going to help them. It's literally going to hurt them. It's going to hurt everything, because women are going to die from getting abortions at, who knows where, if it's overturned. If they try to overturn it on the state level, that's going to also be effective, because you're going to have to go across state lines in order to try to get an effective, abortion. Imagine somebody who is poor and does not have the needs in order to do that. What is going to happen to them?
And also, you have to look at this guy's track record, too. He has sided with corporations, stating that if a corporation has a religious bias, then they do not have to offer birth control to their employees. That's a big deal.
And he's also on the right side of Gorsuch, Trump's other pick. So we're going to see what happens during the Senate hearings. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Zod.
And I'm Drea.
And we want you to check out the Zod and Drea podcast every Tuesday.
Where can everybody find us at?
You can always check us out on www.zodanddrea.com.
Where else?
You can always check us out also on Facebook at Zod and Drea.
Instagram?
Zod and Drea.
Snapchat?
Zod and Drea.
YouTube?
Zod and Drea.
I see a pattern.
So if you haven't caught that, catch us at Zod and Drea on all the social networks. But also, make sure you subscribe to the Zod and Drea podcast. Where?
At zodanddrea.com.
And also on YouTube and iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. We're coming for you.
Let us know what you think. And if you want to be a guest, reach out to us.
And put all of your input into whatever our topics are for the week. So we hope to check you out and see you there.
Bye.
All right, we're back in effect, and now this is what we're going to be talking about. We are going to be talking about a recap of all of our favorite episodes from season 2, at least as much as we can get into in 15 minutes.
Right. Do we have enough? We don't have enough time.
No, because we had well over 50 episodes on the Zod and Drea podcast, as well as interviews that were separate from the episode. So we were really busy. We kept on time. We did it every Tuesday, 9 o'clock a.m. This is where we are. So you can always catch our podcast, and we have not changed that, and we won't change that for season 3. But some of the better episodes that we had that were really enjoyable, I think. Do you want to get into it first? Do you want me to get into it?
Yeah, I'll get into one. I'll get into it. I'll first start off with the one that's closest and dearest to my heart. Dolores Huerta.
All right, so yeah, we were able to We didn't get to interview her, but we did get a chance to ask a couple of questions. And one thing that we want to do, and that she invited us to do, is to actually interview her. So we want to do that for season 3. We've got to do that. We have to have her either here or somewhere, or we go there and just interview this remarkable woman. I know that she's definitely a hero of yours, and you introduced her to me to where I should have known about her. You know, she's one of the people in history books that should be discussed, along with like Angela Davis and you know, Huey Newton, and some of the people that are really influential to who I am. She is really influential to some of the people that like the Cesar Chavez people, like and anybody within the farmers, the workers, farm workers.
And pretty much labor unions.
The labor, that's what I'm looking at. I'm like farm workers,
I'm
labor,
like the labor union
unions
across the country owes her a debt. You know, really owes her for the work that she's done and what she sacrificed of herself, really, and of her life to make sure that workers have rights and that they're protected.
So make sure you do a search on the Zod Drea podcast website, thezoddrea.com. Do a search for Dolores Huerta and check it out, because we have a video also of us asking questions.
I almost died. I almost cried. It was so great.
You did cry.
I did.
So just make sure you check it. She's a really sweet woman. And we have connections here that we can actually get her over, so that's going to be a lot better. One of my favorites, what I really liked, was the best TV theme songs.
Oh, that was fun.
Because that was a lot of fun. And it's one of those things that we just had to chill out. All the politics were getting to us, and we were just wondering, and maybe you can even help us, but what was the best TV theme song out there? And we were hitting off some good ones. You know, like my joint was Beretta. Like, I mean, Beretta, see, in the 70s, they just had some ill theme songs that were just sung by, I mean, come on, that was Sammy Davis Jr. that sung that, I believe.
How'd it go again?
We're good. Oh boy, I was dope. Beretta was dope.
I know. What did we say? Like, oh my gosh, we were talking about good times.
Good times. Who doesn't sing Good Times? Anybody who grew up in that era, you sang Good Times. And even something as simple like, you know, Batman. What else? What other song is kind of like that? One word, and they repeat it, and that's the whole song.
Oh my gosh. Why can't I think of it?
Martin!
Oh, that's my show! I love Martin!
So we just had a good time on that one. Like, see, we're like laughing out. Like, that one was one of my favorites. If you haven't even thought of your favorite TV show or the theme song that it is, like, make sure you check on it, all right? Because it's just a lot of fun. And I think we even played some of them. I think we did. On that episode, we actually played them live. So check it out.
I even think we had Love Boat on there too.
I think we had Love Boat. Yeah. So check out that podcast. That podcast, which were the favorite TV theme songs, and do a search on Zod Drea's website there. Also, what do you have for me?
Another one, which is an event that we participated in, was the Women's March that happened in January.
Yeah.
For me, that was just so amazing to see how many people in Phoenix showed up for that. Because let's just admit, Phoenix, we ain't got a great history of showing up in big numbers for these types of national days of protest. And this was huge.
This was a big one. It was good to see. I can't remember what it was. Was it 25,000?
Yeah, 25,000.
It was like 25,000 people or something. So we were in the middle of it, and we were able to do our interviews. We were checking everybody out. It was something that was really positive to see, because it was also a continuation of the one that was put on before by Murphy Bannerman and some of the other people that we know. And it was good to see that people were coming together. One thing that really opened up my eyes to it, though, was the fact that the representation of people that weren't really registered to vote. I mean, because if you think about it now, there are a lot of people that go to these protests and they're not even registered to vote. So you see a lot of people that are sign holders but aren't the ones doing any of the movement, because they feel that activism is going and showing up at a place in a pussy hat and holding up a sign, and it's not. It's way more than that. Because if you're not doing something or any follow through, then you're only hurting the movement. So it was interesting to see both sides, as into those are the people that want to support and want to see some sort of a change. This may be the first time they ever did anything, but they're not registered to vote, or they voted for Trump, and now they're saying, I mean, it was eye-opening. It's really eye-opening, but it's one of those things that you have to see, and we were able to interview some people to get some of their, especially people of color, and to get their ideas about it. So make sure you see that. That one was number 91, I believe.
That's a good topic for future, about the Instagram activists.
The Instagram activists, yeah.
Yeah.
You know? That was a good one. But what I also like to continue on to that was also the Black Women's March, the March for Black Women. So what that was in solidarity of, it's like there's a women's march, but we need to also recognize the intersectionality of the women's rights. Like the women's suffrage all the way up, like Sojourner Truth and all them, they weren't really invited to that.
Mm-mm.
Yet they were powerful women fighting for women's rights. So you move it all up through suffrage and everything in the 70s and everything. These were white women that were fighting for white women rights. Because as soon as black women tried to come into it, it's like, that's when all of a sudden it became a color issue and not a sex issue or a gender issue. And that is a problem. So this was something that was kind of near and dear to me, that we were able to interview women from the March for Black Women, as well as Reginald Boulding. He was there. I don't know if you remember.
He was.
So make sure you check that interview out. It's called Interviews from the March for Black Women, because I think that one was just as important, if not more, so that we made sure that we gave women of color a voice.
Because look who shows up to vote.
Look who shows up to vote. They show up to vote, and they're the ones who are put on the back burner. And we wanted to make sure we gave black women love. So I think that was a beautiful one.
Next one for me, speaking of March for Our Lives.
Yes. So you want to talk about that one?
So March for Our Lives, for those aren't familiar with now, this big campaign was a result of the Parkland shooting in Parkland, Florida. It was this mass school shooting, again, another one in our country that happened, where and I am so sorry, I forgot how many people lost their lives. I don't remember.
It's like you
them.
just never know. It's like it all blends in.
And it's so sad to say that. Like,
Yeah,
I do not remember how many lives were lost.
It is terrible.
And what I think was, what changed with this, and I'm going to be honest about, is with this school that was attacked, it was an influential school in Florida that had students that were just not going to sit down and take it anymore. They were very vocal about their fears, about their concerns, and demanding that government, that their leaders, and that the president do something about gun laws, because they were just tired of it. And it was the first time that you really saw on a mass media scale students that were articulate and that spoke their mind and just demanded change. And that messed up a lot of people.
They didn't just demand change. Then 17 people died.
17.
Which is terrible. And they made sure they weren't quiet, but they also made sure that the news sources gave people of color a voice.
Mm-hmm.
The students of color, they said, you know what, you're interviewing us, but you need to give these other people like a voice. You never get to interview them for anything else. Remember, black people have been talking about gun violence in their neighborhoods forever, and nobody listens. As soon as Parkland happens, all of a sudden they're listening to these kids, and these kids are like, yep, hold on, let them talk, because you never, like, that was respect right there, from David Hogg and some of the other people
Mm-hmm.
there. But yeah, that was a good one. What we did here, I mean, that was the background of what it was. But what we did here was we got to interview students here and why that mattered, why the gun laws matter here, why there should be a change in laws, why everybody on the planet should not have a freaking gun, especially in this country. So we got to talk to them, and what's funny is that was probably our most watched video, I think, of this year. That was this season. That was the most watched video, and very, very, very critical people on YouTube who are still writing all the time, just angry about what that interview was about. So if you can, make sure you go to YouTube. Otherwise, go to zodanddrea.com/videos, and you can see the interviews that we have there with all the students.
What stayed with me is what the students told us, what's going to happen the next day for them. Not just being present at this protest, but what was the next day at school going to be like for them? How were they going to take this on in their lives? Mm-hmm. So that was really cool to hear from them.
One of my personal favorites, and unfortunately Drea was not with me because we did two of them, but I only did this one, was a road trip. Now, I had done a road trip across the country, from New Jersey all the way up to Indiana and all the way down to Arizona. It took about 5 or 6 days.
Ooh, that's a long time.
It was a long time. I was with my cousin, but what are you talking about? Ours was 5 days. It was only 6. It was the same thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I didn't think about it. I was thinking about a long time, in the car. You were just constantly driving. And you had all kinds of strange weather.
Yeah, there was all kinds of strange weather on it. It was snowing a lot. But what we did was made sure that we recorded it. So you're going to see a series of videos under our road trip. If you haven't seen the other one from the season before, make sure you check that out. But this one was with my cousin Chris, and we got to see all kinds of things on the road. Got to meet up with friends, cousins, check out Johnny Cash's boyhood home. We saw some things on Route 66. We got caught in like 3 or 4 snowstorms. Saw so many overturned trucks and semis. It was ridiculous and just kept going skidding on ice. We were like, whatever. And 2 gigantic crosses. It was really just a wild ride. It was a lot of fun. It was something completely different, something I wanted to do in a car. And I'm definitely up for doing it again. Because there's so much in this country that you have to see that people aren't seeing. And it's, it's funny to see so many Americans who think they know so much about culture to the point where they're going to try to control others. Oh, you can't come over here. This is America. You can't. But it's like, you know what? Not only don't you have a passport, you have barely even been across state lines to even know what your neighboring state or people over there do. So how can you say that you're even worldly when you're not even local?
Right, you won't go out your state lines. What are you afraid of?
So it's great to see that you can go across the state line, see people with different accents, different talks, different cultures, and everything, talk to them, and just have a great time with them. I mean, I saw probably the poorest area in Arkansas where Johnny Cash had grown up. And that was Dyess. It's called Dyess, Arkansas. Man, it is the most poor thing. I mean, it was amazing. All white people, you know what I mean? And, I'm rolling in a Mercedes, and I'm like, God, I look like a douche.
Didn't you eat the craziest thing, too? Like, you came across some place that had, like, it was so weird. Like, it was like the rare, like some type of, not possum, but.
No. So we didn't eat them. So driving through Arkansas, I believe, we were in the Ozarks. So we went to the Ozarks. And I'm like, yo, I got to go to the Ozarks. Keep your eye out. So we go in there and we found a little restaurant. And, of course, there's a Confederate flag, like, hanging on a house.
So welcoming.
I'm like, oh, this is where I'm not supposed to be. So we go to a restaurant. But, they had, like, possum something and raccoons. I mean, I think it might have just been the title. I didn't eat it. I just had the fries with the burger. But it was really good food. The girl, the waitress was extremely friendly. And she was good looking. Chris, my cousin was like, man, I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, she was really good looking. I'm like, man, no, you don't want, like, no, just leave her alone, bro. This isn't the place. We're not going to get out alive. But no, that was a lot of fun. Like, I love road trips. So I know that we're going to have to do one, and that's what we have planned. We have a really good something planned. As soon as we get everything, the money and everything settled, whatever, then we are going to have something planned in probably November, December, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll tell you about that later.
Speaking of road trip, my last favorite is the camping trip we took.
Camping trip.
That was a lot of fun because I hadn't camped in so long, like decades, I think. So you got the idea of just getting up and let's just find a place. And this is a place that you found suggested to go for just a weekend trip. And it was so much fun. And we got to document it.
And
I built a tent. You built a tent.
And you got to look at it. It's like a 5-minute video, nicely edited, and you can just see everything that we did that day. It was like got down to 35 degrees.
So cold.
It got cold, and we were in our little tent, wishing we were dying. But God, it was wishing we had a little bit more heat. I mean, it was so cold.
Just one more blanket.
I swear, like, you were asleep. I don't know how you did it. I was up.
My face was so frozen though.
I was editing the video. I'm like, my fingers were gone. I'm like, I was almost mad at my phone for having so much battery power because I'm like, my fingers, I can't feel them, and why just die? If you die, then I'll go to sleep. Oh man, it was a lot of fun though. It was good, and we had cooked the food up on the little tiny baby grill. And,
yeah, I know.
Getting up in the morning, and it was just in and out. We have all of our equipment saved up, so we can do it again.
Yeah, who knows? We may go next weekend.
Yeah. So anyway, there were also interviews from the Go Topless movement. We didn't even talk about being tear gassed. I mean, we were tear gassed, and we met the Johns.
Yay!
Yeah, so we got to meet people at that one. So make sure you look at the Trump rally protest where we got to interview the Johns, who we met there, and they have been our friends ever since. But School to Prison Pipeline.
Martine, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Martine. So we are out of here with season 2, but welcome season 3 as it comes through.
And who knows what we'll discuss. I mean, we've got a lot more ideas, even suggestions from our fellow listeners. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, so make sure you check out www.zodandrea.com. We also have a Patreon account, so all the support that we can get from all of our people out there, man, the more the merrier. We'll be able to bring to you more content, more interviews, because we would love to travel to California and interview some superstars. Get us to that level, Pay our gas money. Something. Help us out.
Get a hot dog.
Something. Jeez, let us live. These things take time. So we would love for anybody to donate what they can monthly. So check us out, Zod and Drea, everywhere on Instagram, Snapchat, wherever you can find us. Facebook, Twitter, and follow us.
And if you're a small business owner or part of a corporation, we'd love to talk to you too.
Yeah, we need them sponsors. Stop playing.
And I'm like,
Stop
just
playing. Cough it up.
come on.
All right, see you season 3.
Bye.